WKU volleyball continues to bring the heat. We'll take a look at Hudson's Army and who they knocked off this past weekend.
And the top's fourth middle with their tails between their legs. Is that Blue Raider meat I smell? We'll take a look at what's cooking at Smith Stadium. And as always, a take on what happened in the sports world that firmly dropped our mandibles on the floor.
With all the action from around Warren County and your WKU Hilltoppers, this is the Extra Point.
Carrie, welcome to the big show.
Hey, thanks, Will. It's great to be here, but enough with the pleasantries. I'm ready to talk sports.
All right, well, this is Carrie Blanton. I'm Will Puckett. Let's get to it. Hilltopper football moved to 5-1, taking down the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders 58-28. We all know how good Brandon Dowdy can be, but throwing 5 touchdown passes and putting up 52 points in the first half, impressive to say the least. Dowdy finished the day 28 of 36 for 359 yards, 120 of those going to wide receiver Taywan Taylor. Taylor's game-long 69-yard touchdown pass, however, came in the second quarter from wide receiver Nakarius Fant. Yeah, you heard that right. Wide receiver Nakarius Fant. Not to be outdone by the receiving corps, running back Anthony Ace Wales put up 111 rushing yards, and his counterpart DeAndre Furby opened the game with a 6-yard touchdown for the Tops. The Hilltoppers continue conference play tonight, taking on North Texas after the show. 1989, the last time WKU beat Middle Tennessee at home. Let's see what Coach Brom and Brandon Dowdy had to say about the win.
Well, that one feels good. I'm not going to lie. That the last 3 games, I'm extremely happy, but this one here really tops it off. I'm proud of our guys, and to play that way in the first half is just remarkable.
We really worked hard this week, and I thought we practiced pissed off again. I think Coach really has done a good job of getting us going. And just to be able to click like that in the first half, man, that's what's important and encouraging going forward. So. That's a good defense, and we really played a heck of a game.
Fumble-rooski, double pass, Statue of Liberty, flea flicker, the list goes on and on and on. That list is made up of many plays designed to do one thing, fool a defense. The Hilltopper football offense does one thing and one thing well coming into the 2015 football season, and that was speeding by the defense. However, Jeff Brom, Brandon Dowdy, and a host of the Hilltopper offense decided to add another layer to the offense. That's trick plays. So far this season, the Tops have done this double pass, Dowdy to Fant, Fant to Taywan Taylor, 60 yards, touchdown. They ran a flea flicker also, and a triple reverse pass that, as you guessed it on both, they went for touchdowns. However, you are looking at 2 plays in particular that gave the Smith Stadium crowd a rise. Dowdy to Fant to Taylor, like I said, and then a kickoff that bounced off the MTSU front man, and WKU recovered. They would go on to kick a field goal. However, once again, Dowdy to Fant, Fant to Taylor. What more can you ask for? Let's see what Coach Brom had to say about the new part of the WKU offense.
You know what's interesting is Nakarius, when I was recruiting him, I remember going and watching him practice before their state championship game, and Coach Wallace had them repping some trick plays, and they must have ran about 8 in a row. And all 8 of them were some type of reverse pass thrown by him, and he dropped it on a dime every time. I remember coming back and telling our coaches then, this is when I was assistant, I said, Coach, this guy throws better than most of our quarterbacks. I mean, he can throw it.
Brom came to practices when I was in high school, and luckily it was a trick play Wednesday, what we call it in high school, and I threw all the passes. So I kind of got lucky with him coming and watching me and figuring out I can throw the ball.
Carrie, the WKU football team is on a roll.
They really have been, especially these past 3 weeks. What do you think has changed from the first 3 games?
Definitely against Vanderbilt, I think they were nervous. They dropped a lot of passes. It's the first game jitters. You can see that big SEC opponent that the Tops beat, and they knew going in that they could beat them. I think they kind of psyched themselves out. They came home, played Louisiana Tech, played a very solid football game, and then they went to Indiana. Big Ten country, big-time atmosphere, played great in the first half, but in the third quarter, they got absolutely demolished. So I think the defense has turned around, made quite a bit more happen, but the offense is definitely in their groove, and these trick plays just add another fold to the WKU offense.
Speaking of the offense, Brandon Dowdy has had 15 of his 20 touchdowns in the last 3 games. And I think this has a lot to do with the fact that he doesn't really have the experienced running back because Leon Allen is out. What do you think he's doing better these past 3 games?
He's a 6-year senior, so he's got to produce like he is, but Brandon Doughty goes the way this WKU offense goes. He threw 2 interceptions back-to-back in Indiana, and their defense didn't play very well, but after the first interception at IU, you could kind of think, okay, this is going to be a closer game than it was at halftime. But then he threw that second interception on the next drive, and you're thinking, okay, this defense really, they're not built to come from behind. But he's taken the team under his hands. It's under his wings. How Brandon Doughty plays the rest of the season is going to determine if the Tops can beat everybody else they play in Conference USA, and then how they play against LSU. The LSU game is definitely going to be interesting for sure.
Speaking of the LSU game, we have Ace Wales, who came back this past game against MTSU. What does he bring to the offense?
He brings another fold. He is a speed back. DeAndre Furby's more of a bruising back, but Ace Wales knows more about this offense than DeAndre Furby does. Furby's been fighting with a little bit of a concussion symptoms and didn't travel to North Texas this weekend, but Doughty's definitely going to have to talk with Ace Wales to get this offense moving. It's all up to Doughty.
Well, speaking of Doughty, one cool thing about him, he tends to pull awards. And when I say this, I mean weekly. On Monday, the WKU QB was named CUSA Player of the Week, a Manning Awards Star of the Week, and a Davey O'Brien Performer of the Week. This is the 4th time he's secured a few honors for himself in a week's time. Along with these, Doughty was also placed on the 2015 College Football Performance Awards mid-season watch list for the CFPA National Performer of the Year Award. The winner of that award will be announced January 13th. With DeAndre Furby suffering injuries in his past 2 games, the return of Ace Wales is much needed for WKU. Wales injured his hamstring in practice on August 31st, and a little less than a month later, he was dressed and on the sidelines for the WKU versus Miami of Ohio game after practicing on a limited basis the week leading up to it. On October 3rd, Wales returned for limited work against Rice, and this past weekend, Wales ran for the second 100-yard game of his career against MTSU. Well, Brandon Doughty is all the talk of the Hilltopper football team, but that being said, it wouldn't be possible without the help of a group of fine gentlemen. With the loss of Leon Allen for the season and 2 relatively unproven running backs, Doughty has had to rely on his receiving corps a little more than normal. That being said, Doughty wouldn't trade them for the world.
I mean, my group of receivers is the best in the country. I truly, truly believe that. I can be quoted saying that. Those guys work their butt off throughout the week, and you know, it's an honor to be playing with those guys, man. They make me look good. They make me, you know, throw for all those yards and stuff. So it's an honor to play with those guys, and you know, I'm excited for their future past WKU for.
WKU is ready to face off against conference foe North Texas. As the Mean Green look for their first win of the season, WKU attempts to remain undefeated in Thursday night games, posting a 5-1 record overall on the season. These 2 teams have faced off 6 times, with North Texas winning 4 of the 6 matchups. However, WKU brings with them a 6-game win streak against CUSA opponents, which just so happens to be the 7th longest streak in the country. The Tops are set to take on North Texas following the show at 6:30 on the CBS Sports Network.
And while we continue to talk about the WKU football team, the Lady Tops still dominate on the floor of Diddle. Week to week, we award a single person with Hero on the Hill. This week is a first. We're giving it to an entire squad. Will Coach Travis Hudson and the entire Lady Tops volleyball team please stand up? These ladies are getting it done. They've knocked off 3 Power 5 teams, and this past weekend knocked off what many consider their toughest CUSA opponent in UTSA. So from Haley Bodway to Alyssa Kavanaugh to the Ingle sisters to Jessica Lucas, to Jordan O'Connell, Kaylin Grimes, Noelle Langenkamp, Mary Martin, Amara Lissenby, Taylor Dellinger, Jackie Scott, Rachel Anderson, and finally Harley Bryant, you rockin' ladies, all composed of our heroines on the hill. Well, pumpkin spice lattes, Ugg boots, and postseason baseball are in full swing. We'll take a look at who has advanced and who is looking to keep their season alive on the diamond.
And next, we'll take a look at some Lady Tops who are killing the game, literally.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to theshelterpetproject.org and meet if you are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to theshelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, excuse me, sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If the door's locked, knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't stare, don't use bad language. You talk with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
Don't interrupt. Cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give your seat up to anybody who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you want to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
Good talk.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
Another game, another win for Travis Hutson's volleyball squad. The Lady Tops hosted the Southern Miss Eagles on Sunday and cruised to their 13th straight victory. The girls in red were led once again by senior Noelle Langenkamp, who tallied 14 kills on the match, as well as earning her 1,000th career kill. Coach Hudson commented on sophomore Sydney Engel, saying, quote, "She was the story of this match," end quote. As she had a career-tying 11 kills on the match, the Lady Tops improved to 19-2 on the season. Before earning their 13th straight win, the volleyball girls had to continue their win streak against CUSA foe UTSA. It was the battle of the unbeatens in BG Friday evening, as both the Lady Toppers and the Lady Roadrunners were undefeated in CUSA play entering this match. Travis Hutson's squad registered a season-high 67 kills in the 4-set dub over UTSA. Hudson praised his volleyball team, saying, quote, "I'm really proud of our effort. UTSA is a really good team, and they don't beat themselves. You have to beat them," end quote. After a long weekend for the Lady Toppers, they get a slight break to tackle their classes during the week, and they'll be back up and running this weekend. The Lady Toppers will head to North Carolina to take on the Charlotte 49ers at 5 on Friday. After that, they won't have much time to rest other than their trip to Texas. The team will face North Texas Sunday at noon. Volleyball Defensive CUSA Player of the Week is junior Georgia O'Connell. O'Connell led the team in defensive attacks throughout the weekend and recorded her 1,000th career dig on Friday and finished with a match high of 20 digs against UTSA. This mention makes her the first honor of the season and second honor of her career.
Last Friday, the soccer team kicked off Hate Week against MTSU. After traveling the 100 miles of hate to Middle Tennessee State, the soccer team came up short against the Blue Raiders. WKU outshot their opponent 13-12, but they couldn't handle the defensive pressure. The game ended 2-0 in MTSU's favor. Then on Sunday, the team traveled down to Birmingham to face UAB. The team started out down 1-0, but came back to get the draw in the 46th minute. And they held the tie goal throughout the entire game. Senior Allison Leone finished the game with a season-high 8 saves, which brings her season total of 60. Another leader on the field was Iris Dunn, who led the team with 6 shots. This draw brings the Hilltoppers to 2 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws in CUSA play. Following a weekend that saw them get hit with a loss and a draw on the road, the WKU soccer team is back in Bowling Green for more conference games. Up first, FIU. The Panthers are coming off a big conference win against La Tech and are currently 4-2 in conference play. The ladies hit the road again Sunday and head to Charlotte for a matchup with the 49ers.
Well, gone are the days of Chastity Gooch and Alexis Govan. The Lady Tops add 6 names to the roster this season. The Lady Tops were picked 3rd in Conference USA preseason coaches poll this season. You can see the Lady Tops in action Saturday at Hilltopper Hysteria in Diddle Arena at 6 p.m. The Hilltoppers and Lady Toppers have many standout games this season. The Tops will have 13 men's games and 5 games on Fox College Sports. Notable games for the Lady Tops are November 21st against Louisville and January 13th against MTSU. The Hilltoppers' marquee games include Eastern Kentucky in Diddle Arena and the defending Conference USA Tournament champions, UAB. Well, both WKU men's and women's basketball teams will be in action at Hilltopper Hysteria. Fans will get their first look at both teams on October 17th. Festivities start at 6 p.m. inside of EA Diddle Arena. Basketball may be gearing up, but the bats are cooling down. We'll show you a play on the diamond that disconnected our jaws.
And coming up, we'll have WKU sports reporter Paige Hagan here with us to give you tips on how to step up your golf game. Hear it all from a well-known local prodigy.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
This new dad is picturing a tree house in the sky, but he's ignoring the instructions. Good luck, big guy. His kids know that he's building without a clue. Never been so good with nails and glue. Now we're trapped inside a box. I hope mom knows what to do. Mom! See, you don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent.
Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
The Extra Point team is on your side. We're here to keep your noggin fresh with all things sports, but why not keep your game fresh this week? I ventured down to Scottsville Road to give you the Extra Point's first edition of Topper Tips.
From amateurs to the pros, golfers from all over the planet come to Bowling Green, Kentucky to experience the club at Old Stone. WKU Hall of Famer and pro golfer Kenny Perry will tell you all about the mastermind behind a money-making swing. His name is Matt Killen. This Kentucky native's fascination in golf manifested as a youngster.
I'm lucky that I've been able to turn something that I really enjoyed as a kid into my job. I was lucky enough to be able to spend a lot of time with Kenny Perry and his son growing up, and that was how I really got started.
And at just 18 years old, Killen began coaching Kenny Perry, who's twice his age. The young teacher behind Kenny Perry's career comeback in the 2008 Ryder Cup raised some eyebrows. And just like that, word spread like wildfire.
I think his agent finally told somebody in the media. I didn't ever tell anybody because I kind of felt like it was weird. And then we had Fox News, ESPN come interview me, Sports Illustrated, and it was just bizarre, really.
Killen's career teed off. And now at 30 years old, the list of high-profile clients continue to grow.
J.B. Holmes, I've worked with Chad Campbell, Paul Azinger, and the list goes on, Colt Knost. I mean, it's a large list of people from the golf standpoint, and then I've been able to work with some really neat individuals from, both the investment side of the world and then celebrities. I grew up in Franklin and didn't really travel much, and so when I was 18 and started traveling, it was kind of a little bit of a culture shock.
Killen Academy stands tall on Old Stone's grounds, where Matt works like a mad scientist.
Look how much different those arms look. That is before and after.
dissecting every detail of your swing.
You see how her forearms are close together there and her right forearm is rotating on top of her left?
Golf is a difficult sport. It's an equation comprised of physics and geometry, knowing your body, and requires a lot of patience.
It's a lot of technology we use to measure what's happening. You guys saw the TrackMan, the Swing Catalyst in there. Those are great resources. There's still the element of, making sure that you're able to communicate with the individual and get them to do what you want them to do.
With the help of technology, Matt's keen intelligence combined with the gift of interpersonal communication skills makes for a successful teacher.
Look at that. Nice. It's something that doesn't influence the ball flight as much. People don't generally feel like it's that great of a lesson, right? Like you couldn't draw it, now you can draw it. So to you, that's pretty earth-shattering. And you might have a few lessons like that, but then you might have some where you feel like you're not getting any better, but it's more maintenance or it's a motion that's really difficult and you can't make good contact when you're thinking about it. Yeah, you're choked down it probably a little more than you have to be. There you go. Nice.
Killen broke down my swing and was able to improve my skills in just one 30-minute session.
I'm trying to make people play better golf and perform at the highest level possible, whether that's making more money on the tour or a college kid performing better or a kid that's never played getting to where they can shoot par for the first time.
Matt Killen cares for his clients beyond the links, and that's the equation for success. With this edition of Topper Tips, I'm Paige Hagan.
Professional golfers just live the sweet life, don't they?
There's no doubt about it. Well, Matt Killen is a genius. I mean, we met last winter. I had the privilege of going to a UK Louisville game, front row seats. He took my friend and I, who's actually on the PGA Tour right now. You might have heard of him, Justin Thomas. He's a Louisville native. But I met Matt, and he's just a wonderful guy. He knows the in and outs of golf, and it just astounds you.
Definitely. All right, so that's Matt Killen, the man. Let's hear about Matt Killen, the coach. Paige, I've got a wicked slice. What would Matt say I need to do to fix that?
Well, that's funny. I used to have a slice too. It was terrible. I always teed off right. But two things. Forearm rotation is essential. You need to over-exaggerate your forearm rotation, and that's going to gear the ball a lot straighter. So practice that. Distance comes last. It's technique that comes first. So don't let, if a short ball, you're teeing off short, don't let that fool you because it comes with time. Golf takes a lot of patience, as I said, and forearm rotation. The second thing is club face angle. Your angle of attack and the club face, that's so essential to how your impact is going to come off with that ball. Now, if your club face is square in, you're going to hook it to the left. Same thing with the right. If you're hitting off right, it's all in the forearms. That mirrors your club face. So let's talk about some putting, because I know you struggle with putting too. Do you get out and golf much at all?
Not as much as I would like to, but definitely something I want to do in the future.
And that's the story with a lot of busy folks. I mean, getting out and taking the time to do it is what makes a difference in your game. And I know that's hard to do. Professional golfers, that's a different story. They live, breathe, and eat it. But putting, you have to follow through, and lining up your shot, the pre-shot is essential. You saw me get down on my knees there. You've got to line your ball shot up. You've got to evaluate the greens and how they dip down. You've got to feel the grass to see if it's rough. Some greens vary from course to course. Some are rougher than others. The Old Stone, smooth as it can be. But anything else you'd like to know?
No, definitely. Paige, let's see what people think.
Yeah. So please, tag us, go on Twitter. We want to hear what you have to say. Go ahead and add us at WKU Extra Point. I want to hear what you have to say about the first episode of Topper Tips. Use that hashtag, guys, Topper Tips.
Hey, what do you say? Coming up next, we will take a look at who is going to the NLCS for the first time in quite a while.
Sounds good.
Spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes twice a day. They have the time.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
The last time the Lovable Losers made it to the NLCS was marred in controversy after a fan named Steve Bartman attempted to catch a foul ball, which many Cubs believe cost them a trip to the World Series. Almost 12 years to the day, the Cubs took on the Cardinals with a trip to the NLCS on the line. Cubs-Cardinals at Wrigley Field, one of the most storied venues in all of baseball. Cards most wins in the MLB this season. Anthony Rizzo, it was 4-4, 2 outs, bottom of the 6th, home run. He takes the go-ahead run for the Cubbies. Up next is going up after that strikeout ended the streak. The Cubs to the NLCS. Lackey versus Hamels. Hamels on tops. Cubs win 6-4. Now moving up north to Canada. 1993, the last time the Blue Jays were in the ALCS, well, that record disappeared. Game 5 winner take all rested in the hands of right fielder Jose Bautista, and he delivered. That wasn't his run, but it would come later in the game after a very long 7th inning mess. A huge, beautiful bat flip by Bautista would set it off in the land of the North. Blue Jays, Royals, coming up in the ALCS.
Well, the Jays punched their ticket and awaited the winner of Kansas City versus Houston. The wait is over. After the Royals fell behind 2-0 on a Louis Valbuena home run, Johnny Cueto did what Johnny Cueto does. Johnny Baseball retired the final 19 batters he faced, and the Royals put up 7 runs to set up an ALCS matchup that Jays fans have been waiting for a long time. You would have to go back to 1985 to find the last postseason matchup between the Blue Jays and the Royals. The Royals won that matchup in 7 games and went on to defeat the St. Louis Cardinals, claiming the only World Series in franchise history. This year, Kansas City looks to avenge last year's World Series defeat to the Giants. With their opponents set, the Mets and Dodgers have one game to decide where the Cubs will travel to. Tonight at 7, Zach Greinke will take the mound to pitch opposite of Jacob deGrom. Greinke boasts a 19-3 record and deGrom a 2.4 ERA. The Dodgers look to advance to the NLCS for the first time since 2013 when they lost to the eventual world champion St. Louis Cardinals. For the Mets, it's been a while, 2006. And well, their fate was the same as the Dodgers. They lost to the Cards, who went on to win it all.
Breaking pitch. Now my jaw's broke from a play that happened at Wrigley Field. Let's head out to Chicago. The Cubs were ahead. It would take a little bit for them to come back, but boy, oh boy, did this one happen. Kyle Schwarber, catcher for the Cubs, smacked it out of the park. He sent it over the scoreboard. Here we go. Whammy! It's gone. It's gone. Budweiser sign. See ya, big boy. It is out of the park. The Cubs will actually keep that ball glass encased behind the scoreboard until the end of the playoffs. 107 years. Good God, Kerry, I hope they can bring one to the Windy City. Now, we did so well today that we are not going to go for 2. Kerry, we're going to wrap this thing up.
Well, that's all the time we have tonight, folks. Then, thanks for watching the Extra Point live at 6. Will, you know the drill.
Oh, you know I do, Kerry. As always, it's up and it's good. Have a great night, y'all.